Today's barn find is the games version of the Nissan 350Z. I am going to be taking it, cleaning it up, doing it all from scratch and repairing what I can. Any parts that I replace, I'm going to be replacing for performance parts. I'm going to give this entire machine a massive overhaul. We will then paint it, spray it, and do the interior as well, just to really finish it off and see what we can do. So if we look at the stats real quick, you will see that it is currently worth 26,644 credits. We are losing 3,350 because we bought it from a barn and we paid just under 30 grand for it. If you look at the part condition, you can see that there is a lot that we don't know because I haven't inspected it yet. And it's currently got the V6 DOHC NSN engine in it, which registers at 314 horsepower and 6,400 RPM. It's interesting, but we're going to improve it and see just how much we can improve this as a general rule and see what color we're going to have it in and all of that good stuff. For the purposes of this video, I will take out a lot of the boring things from repairing body parts and coloring each of the engine bay things and things like that, just to really make your viewing experience as good as possible. So let's get started and let's turn this junker into something that you could really call pride and joy. First step when doing any of these builds is I always strip it completely, repair everything, and then take it through to be washed. So we're going to just strip everything here. We can see that the part condition actually isn't that bad, and that's something that you find when you do a barn find, is that the part condition isn't anywhere near as bad as a junker. The junkers tend to be 10 to 20% if you're lucky. This means that you can actually save quite a bit of money on your builds because a lot of it can be repaired. Obviously glass and lights and stuff generally can't, and if you are going to be changing it out for the more sporty version of whatever it is you're buying, you are going to be spending more money there. Now I'm quite lucky with this 350Z because it looks like it's already got all of the sporty bits on it and it does look fairly complete. I know I'm going to need some new lights and things like that, but we will get this all replaced, and the very first protocol is to obviously repair the body as well. This can be a little bit expensive, ranges between 900 to about 1500 credits depending on the car and the type. Once that's done, we are going to go ahead and repair all the body parts, and when you come back you will see all of that done. All bits have been purchased and repaired, so we're going to now just reattach everything, including all of the new bits that I've added with the body tuning and stuff. And as you can see, the color looks somewhat okay, but it is still fairly dirty, so we will obviously go ahead and clean it once I've fitted all of this. The difference that you get from purely just putting new windows, new body parts on, or repairing the old parts really brings the car to life and allows you to see what it is you're going to be working with from here on out, and it really does add to that feel and gives you a sense of customization and pride and joy that you tend to get with these sorts of things. I actually really like the way that this looks, and I'm quite happy in that a lot of it was already the sporty sort of body type and tuning mods that you can get for this car. One thing I've often been critical of for Car Mechanic Simulator is that the body parts and customization are very, very limited, but they still look fairly good. Let's give this car a wash and see what it looks like once we've done that. What a difference this is. So I haven't actually had to buy any new parts at all. It has all been done the same, and this color is phenomenally good. We'll add the license plates on the end, and honestly, I don't think I'm going to repaint it because it looks so pretty that I'm going to keep it as stock. Now, we are missing a few wheels. We've only got the one, so we always change the wheels at the end. But the first protocol is to treat this engine and see what it needs. What I'll do is I will strip it out, I'll break it down, and I'm also going to be coloring some of these engine parts. So the next time you see this, we will be rebuilding the engine from scratch, and all the parts have already been bought and stuff, and we can see what it looks like when Okay, you join me now as we are about to mount all of the parts. I have painted all of the engine bits that can be painted. I have bought all of the things that need to be bought, and we're going to put them all in and make this thing look and sound and perform incredible. It definitely does not take as long to put it together as it does to take it apart, figure out all the bits that you need, that you want to update and improve, like adding all the performance bits in and stuff, and then obviously painting them as well. Now, a lot of these are not going to need painting, which is why they haven't been, and I don't think I've missed anything, but we're about to find out. This was a barn find after all, which means that it's highly possible that there's something that I might not have missed, which we can just buy as we put it back on. The engine was pretty damn complete though, and a lot of it was able to be repaired, but then I've obviously changed some bits out to really improve that performance. The game is very basic, as you probably already know. If you're watching this, you're probably a veteran and just judging me on my style choices, but it does have some interesting power choices and options. Just fitting the pistons and the Conrads right now. The great thing about this lift is the fact that you're able to turn it and spin it and get it to where you really need it to go. Already I've actually remembered something that I may not have added on, and that is the oil filter and possibly the oil drum as well. I also believe that there might be something I've missed here because I'm not allowed to put the bottom on or the oil pan just yet, which means there's something I've missed. I don't know what, but I've missed something already. We'll put it on and see where we end up. Do love these shiny exhaust manifolds. They're beautiful. We've got a fuel filter already. That's good. I really do like this sort of colour scheme that I've gone with the black and the corresponding colour of the car to really make it match and stand out. It means I'm probably going to end up going with some black wheels. Just haven't decided which ones yet. There's got to be... This is bugging me. I want to know why it's not letting me put the oil pan on. We have the exhaust manifold though, and then we can put the intake manifold on it as well. Just spin around so we can actually see what we're doing. It's a very, very pretty engine though. And there you go. So we're missing some rocker arms as well. This does happen with barn finds and junkers where you end up just missing a few bits and pieces here and there. Doesn't take too long to add them as you build them in though, and they're not they're not paintable parts, so it's not a huge issue either way. I do find it interesting the way that you can strip certain bits off and make some bits better and put them back in a different order to what you can physically take them off in. I do find it rather interesting. I believe I've got to get the timing stuff on and the cover before I can put the oil pan on from what I remember, but we'll soon find out if there's something major that I'm forgetting. Or it'll be fine. The search feature of this is fantastic and very, very much useful and very, very greatly appreciated from the devs. Use rocker arms on, and then we'll put the other throttle on. I'm doing this in not a very organized way. I'm kind of doing it very sporadically and just going for whatever I can. And on that goes. The other throttle on. And the ignition coils, get them on there as well. The fact that they're such like a really pale red, it makes it really stand out quite a lot. The caps on this side as well, and then we can say that the top engine's done. I don't know which is more finicky, doing the individual valve rods for a typical old school V8 or doing these little camshaft rod caps, keeping everything in place. So they're probably just as finicky as each other, to be honest. Put the cam gears in as well. Nice and smoothly does it. The water pump in this one's actually really nice. The others are a bit ugly, almost. The cover on. So it matches. I've got the timing chain covers themselves to offset in colour, so they should, as long as I've done it right, be black coloured. Okay. Really make it pop when you're putting it on. And there you go. There's the oil pan, which I can't remember if I've got. I might have to buy one and go and paint it, so you get to see it painted as we go. Because from what I remember, the engine didn't come with one, so I'm going to have to add one in. Obviously, we want it painted. I'll have the belt tensioner painted as well. Right, so I don't think we've got one. No. What we're going to do is we're going to buy it, and then we're going to go and paint it. So it will match the colour, so I'll be right back. With the magic of YouTube, the oil pan is now on and painted as if it never went away. Would you look at that? Happy days. Oil filter as well. And there you have it. There is the engine built, color coded, and looking rather fantastic, if I do say so myself. Let's get this in the car and continue the build. Okay, so the engine is now situated in the car. What we're going to do is we're going to work on the suspension. I always work on the front suspension first, then I do the rear suspension, then I work on the exhaust, the gearbox, the drive shaft, the fuel tank, and the fuel pump, and then do all the extras in the front, like the coolant tanks and windshield re-riper tanks, etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip that out now, and then you'll see me rebuild it again, all with color-coded parts that is going to allow this to really, really pop. All parts repaired or purchased, and all parts have been painted. So let's get building this front suspension and getting this car performing as well on the corners as it does in the straights. We'll start with the front knuckles and work our way down. It's surprising how many bits aren't actually paintable from the brakes, but it sort of makes sense because you're not really going to see them at all. I do need some bearings, which I apparently forgot because I'm smart like that. We'll buy a couple of those just to get us going. Again, you don't really paint those. We have got the upgraded brakes for this as well, because why wouldn't you? And I'm very happy to say that the wheel hub is able to be colored. So what I've tried to do is I've tried to put all the points that you can see behind the wheel as to the same color of the car, for the very simple reason that the car itself, or the wheels, are going to be black, so you want it again to sort of contrast and abstract from that. Rather surprisingly, and it does always surprise me, the steering column can't be painted, or at least it didn't give me the option to. Which is a bit weird because you'd expect it to be one of the biggest parts to be painted. It's really plain sailing from here on out and just essentially rebuilding as you go down and allowing you to get the most out of this car as we go along. You'll notice as we go through, we haven't actually bought or started with the gearbox yet because I always tend to do that last. And in there. The good thing about rebuilding a car from scratch is that you don't have to worry about finding the faulty bushes, because they are a nightmare when you are doing any form of diagnostic work. But if you're just replacing everything, you just tend to find them quite easily. That's one side done. We always do the rims last as well, as I feel like it's a very nice finishing touch to the car. So we're not going to do any of the rims or put any of the rims on. We're going to sort them out later when I've decided what I want to do. Let me know in the comments down below at this point what sort of rims you think I'm going to go for and what you think would go well with this car. Also, please do let me know about the color choice, whether you would go with something more lighter to contrast on the darker color of the car, or whether you would stick with the black. Really set it off and set it apart from main color of car. Front suspension really doesn't take very long to do. Rear suspension can be a little bit fiddlier, but on the whole, as long as you remember to do everything that you actually need to do, it doesn't take long at all, which is quite nice. I want that one. Of course, adding the part that you're trying to put onto the car to the wish list instead of something that you don't actually need at all, generally revered as quite helpful. Just the sway link and the outer tie rod to go, and that will be the front suspension done. Quick and easy with some really nice accents and painted parts. Next, we're going to head to the rear suspension. Again, I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to strip it down, paint it, repair it, and put it back on when I come back. Same again as with the front suspension. We are going to now just rebuild it with all the bits that have been repaired and or replaced and painted, and we will get this rear of the car working just as good as the front of the car. You know, the car is only as good as the sum of its parts, and it's no good having a load of power if you can't put that power onto the ground. There might be a few bits that I've actually missed here because, again, it is a barn find and they might not have been there. So not everything will probably be painted, but luckily things like the shock absorber and things, they look good in black anyway, so it's not the end of the world. We'll build it up as best we can, and hopefully we won't miss any, which would be a shame. And in we go. Nice and easy, just putting everything back on. Touches of colour here and there just to really make it stand out and pop. Make you go, yeah, this is a car that is something quite special. I quite like the 350Z, and the game's own version of it isn't exactly bad, let's be real. Power ratios and the engine is obviously pretty damn close as well. Should have bought two of them because you need it. If you don't have one for one side, you definitely don't have another for the second. Brake calipers looking rather nice offset against it. That's one side, and then we can move over to the other side. And what we'll do, because we can now put the drive shaft in, etc., we will work from the rear of the car back forwards, and then once we've done that, we can start doing things like putting the coolant tubs in and things like that. So this really shouldn't take too much longer to do. This is sort of like the home stretch, if you will. Once you've got the suspension all sorted out, know what you're doing with it and which direction you go in. Can take a little bit longer if you want to do a more unique color scheme, adding more than just a 2-color system. But I really didn't want to mess with this color too much because I really like it on the car. I think it adds a good amount of uniqueness to the car itself. You don't tend to see that color very often, and that to me is a massive win. The other advantage, for those of you wondering, is that painting your parts does actually give you a condition bonus, and therefore you can actually make a little bit more profit from doing so, which is always handy if you're doing especially your first build, or you're getting into the game and you're looking to make a little bit more cash, so you can do more of these unique builds there in the future. I always keep a store of the rubber bushes because you know you're going to need them, especially when you're doing a fresh build. The amount that you have to go through is kind of insane. Like I say, when you're doing diagnostics, it's a nightmare to find them. Okay, that is the rear suspension done. Let's continue by taking out the fuel tank and the mufflers and then putting those new performance ones in its place. So working from the rear, we're going to start with the fuel tank, which we have replaced and painted. We're going to put the fuel pump in there as well, which is an improved one. Then we've got the rear mufflers. It's a really nice exhaust system, this one, because it comes with 2 of each, which leads to a really, really nice sound as you're doing it. And then we're going to move down to the middle muffler, which again, we have improved with the performance parts, making it very, very nice and shiny indeed. Off to the catalytic converter, which, as you know, you do need in the UK at least to pass your MOT, but it doesn't mean we can't have a really nice performance one as well. The front exhaust pipes in there, and then we have changed the gearbox, which we have painted for an upgraded one to again give us just that little bit more power. Then we are going to go around and we're going to put the starter in, which has also been painted. A little bit awkward to get to on this when you've already got your exhaust in. We're going to do the drive shaft. And there is all of the gearing and the rear of the car sorted. Now to go and add things like the servo, the battery, the fuse box, and things like that, which again, you can paint. Time to get all of the engine compartment bits like your tanks and your radiators and things installed and ready to go. We've also got the ABS module and the fuses to put in as well to really make this car workable. More than anything, having it actually be able to be switched on and be used is going to be a big plus. We do have an extra air filter here, and I have covered and painted the different casings for the fuse box and the air filters as well, including the clips, which is a nice little touch, and again just makes it really stand out when you look in the engine bay. I really do like the way this color combination has worked because, as we know, black kind of works with everything. The silvery bits of the brand shiny new pieces of equipment really do make this stand out as well. This is going to be a car for the ages, I think. I'm really, really happy with how it's turning out. Once we've done this, we'll just do the interior, and then, like I say, we'll finish off with the wheels, and hopefully that will bring the build together, and then we'll see how much it's actually going to be worth, whether I've made a good investment or not. Remember, when we started this, we were actually losing money on the car, so hopefully we can turn that around into a nice, tidy profit. Condition bonus really does make the difference here. A couple of relays to be installed. And there. Fuse box cover. Did buy a new battery. We weren't able to charge up one that didn't exist. New module on. I do wish that it was a bit more in-depth with the module, I'm not going to lie. Washer reservoir, and then all we've got to do is fill it as well. We've got to make sure that it works. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to sit and fill all of these up. It is incredibly satisfying to fill these containers up. I'm not going to lie. I will say that the placement of our steering reservoir can sometimes be really annoying because you can't actually see how far away you are from filling it. Some of the placement, it's really hard to actually see it. This one is all right. The Nissan is okay. It's quite high up, and so you can see just when you are about full. Got the brake servo and the oil to go, and then we can start looking at the interior. Glug, 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 glug. All of the glug glugs. The only one that you can't really tell ever how far you are from full is the engine. You just kind of have to guess. Generally speaking, though, a couple of glugs after it lowers it tells you you're about there. You can generally get away with it then. Like so. All right, let's get this interior sorted. Okay, so the cool thing about this car is that you only actually really need the 2 front seats and the steering wheel. It doesn't come with a bench seat. I've gone with these sort of racing style seats in here opposed to the ones it came with, and I've gone for a fairly sporty wheel as well. Speaking of wheels, let's get the exterior wheels on and really finish this car off. Wheels all chosen. Let's get these bad boys on. I really like these rims. I love the studs. I've gone with sport tires because I get the car gives me the feeling that this is going to be sort of like a show car. It's going to be one that you want to have decent performance on it, but ultimately it's not going to be a track car. It's not going to be done down the drag strip. It just wants to be usable and shown off. So those rims coupled with the sports tires, I feel like is a really good marriage made in heaven. And as you can see, you can also see clearly through the rims to see the colors of the sort of like the brakes and everything show off. And there you have it. This is the show car. Right, we're gonna put it on the dyno. I'm gonna see what sort of results we get from it. And then once we've seen that, we'll see how much the car's worth. And that will be the end of the video, guys. So I'm quite excited to see what we get from this. So at base, it starts with 314 horsepower. Let's see how much we've added on with all the performance pieces and things like that we've gotten out of it. I'm hopeful that we've got it to about 500. If we can get it to just about 500, I'm happy, but we'll see what we add to it. Overall, an interesting line for sure. 536, there you go. It's almost like I know what I'm doing, friends. 536 horsepower out of the 314 that comes from the factory stock. I'd say that is a bloody good win. Let's move this outside. Wheels are missing from the car. What do you mean wheels are missing from the car? Weird. Okay. And how much money have we made and or lost on it? Let's have a look at this. 101,000. That's not bad. That's not a bad return at all. Remember, we paid 29,994 for it. We've got a massive condition bonus. And then obviously parts value and performance parts that we've added on. So 101,000 is what we're making as a return on this car. Let me know in those comments down below what you think, guys. Whether you think this is worth it or not. Whether you would have done something different. Whether you would have gone all out on performance. Or whether you'd have changed the wheels. Or even the body style. The paint. All of that good stuff. Don't forget to also subscribe to the channel if you like what you see. And if we get enough likes and comments and stuff, then I might do another one. We have got plenty of other cars, and I've got loads of barn finds that I can have a look at. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you all in the next video. Ciao, ciao.